Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Todd, and this is Ottawa Valley Vintage Motorcycles. Today we're going to be working on this 1980 Yamaha RD400 Daytona Special. So what I got planned for today is I'm going to put in these Barnett new clutch springs, and I got these Kevlar clutch, so we're going to put that in today. So basically we're going to take these and soak them in some oil for about 4 to 8 hours first, and then we'll remove the clutch cover and take the old clutch out, put the new one in. So stay tuned. Okay, so these are race springs, so they're going to be a lot stiffer than the stock ones. So you can stagger these and put 3 in, and so I have 3 old ones and 3 new ones. I'm going to try and put them all in and see how stiff it is. If it's too stiff, then I'll take it apart and I'll take out a few and just go with 3. But for now, I'm going to go with the full Monty and put them all in. Now we're going to open up the package that it came from. I'm using Barnett to make really good stuff. I've used their clutches in the past. Really good product. So these are the Kevlar ones. So there they are. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So there's 7 of those. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of those. Okay, so we're going to take these apart out of the bags and get them soaking. It's best to just use the same transmission fluid that you're going to be using in the bike. They don't recommend using like 2-stroke injector oil or anything like that. Just soak them in regular transmission oil. So there's one. These ones look like you might have a little bit of oil or something already in there, some sort of preserver. And you can see they're a little tacky. That's good. Good, so I'm going to open these up and get them soaking. And boom, just like that, they're all unwrapped. So these are my friction plates. And these are my steel plates. Okay, so just before I start my soak, I'm going to measure a few of these plates. Actually, I'm going to measure all of them and make sure that they're in within tolerance before I start soaking them, because they could start to move tolerance-wise a little bit once they get soaked in oil. I'm also going to measure the springs and see if they're within tolerance as well on the new stuff. So then when I take the old ones out, we'll measure them and see if they were still in tolerance or not, or see how bad they are. Okay, so I got my manual out here. So there's a YDS and a YM1, so it's neither one of those. So it says all other models are 118 thou, and so that's where they should be. Replace any plate that is worn unevenly or more than 12 thou below standard thickness. So when we go to measure the new ones, you're going to see if they're within that spec. As far as the spring goes, we are here RD400. So the spring should be 1 inch 420, and then we got a tolerance of 40 thou. So before you even start your measurements, make sure that your caliper or mic is zeroed out. So I'm getting a really good zero there. Now I'm going to measure my spring first. So the spring, once again, 1 inch 420, and we got a 40 thou tolerance. And I'm getting 1 inch 540. So that's quite a bit stronger than your standard spring. There's a lot more stretch on it. So these are the new ones. So this is applying to the old ones. One inch 548. Okay, so I'll go and I'm going to finish measuring these springs, make sure they're all the same height and within that 40 thou. We'll check it to see if they're within the 40 thou tolerance of each other, but they're definitely taller than standard springs. And we'll confirm that when we take the old springs out. We'll measure up a few. Okay, so now the friction plate. So friction plate, we're supposed to be 169 thou. Oh, I'm sorry, 118 thou with a 12 thou tolerance. So we're looking for 118 would be your nominal. So we got 122. So that's good. We're a little bit thicker. And just go around and check a few places. 123 thou. 122, and so on and so forth. So we'll go through and we'll just make sure that these are all within spec. They're looking pretty good so far. Okay, so I went through now and I've measured all the springs, all the friction plates and all the steel plates, and I'm quite satisfied that they're all within tolerance. So we'll get these soaking now and then we'll start taking off the cover. Okay, so next up we'll move around to the other side. Obviously I don't have this cover bolted on because I just installed this glass see-through clutch cover the other day. You may have enjoyed it in my previous video. So basically I'm just going to pull this off and we'll get right into the clutch. So if you want to see how to take that off, go look at my other video and it shows how I took all that off. Okay, so I just pulled the clutch cover off. And we're going to start with taking these out, 10mm bolts. You'll see there's a little arrow here. I made a little mark just so I know exactly where to put it back on. Now these are they can be tricky. If you try to just turn these off, it'll just want to spin on you. So if you just take it, put your ratchet on there like so, and just give it a little whack, it should come loose, like so. If you have an impact, it'll do the same job. There we go. And we'll just spin those out and take our springs off. So there's the bolt. There's the spring. Just making sure that there's no washers or anything on there. Looks pretty good. We'll measure those up in a few minutes. There we have it. Now we'll just wiggle this pressure plate and that should come right off. A little bit of oil dropping out. Gotta watch that doesn't go flying on you. On there. So I'm going to set these down in order, having a look at them as I pull them out. That one has a tab on it. See the tabs here? Now Barnett doesn't recommend putting those O-rings back in. That's it. Now there should be a little ball down inside here. Yeah, I see it. Let's see if I can show you. Here we go. See a little ball? You don't want to lose that little ball. So it looks like it may have been off before because that tab, I don't know if you can see it. Let's see if I can show you. That tab right there looks like it's been kind of worked on a little bit. See that? That's kind of an indication that somebody was in here before, especially with the fact that I had silicone around here, around the cover. Another indication that this cover was off at one point. And that nut, see how that nut wiggles? It shouldn't do that. That tab there is supposed to make that nut not move, not come off. It looks like, as you can see, it's trying to come off. So it's a good thing that I did this. That clutch could have grenaded. So I wasn't going to go in any deeper, but now that this is like that, I want to pull this off and just take a peek underneath here. I guess. So how easy that was, and now the nut's free. See behind here. You don't lose that. Okay, so I'm looking in here, making sure there's no wear. You can see the marks where the plates were touching, but there's no, if you look at it from this side, there's no big gouges or anything in here. So this is going to be okay. That looks all right. Everything's looking pretty good. The bearing there looks and feels okay. Slip this back on. Now when the clutch is done soaking, we can put it in. So now the way this works is a little ball that's in there I showed you earlier. We'll put that back in. Now I'm going to go around the other side. I'm going to pull in the clutch, and that should actually come out. See how it came out? So I'd be pushing on that there, which puts pressure on your clutch plates, friction plates. Okay, so let's measure up a few of these springs. So I don't know if you recall from earlier the new ones. So I'm looking at the book here again. These should be 1 inch 400. Sorry, yeah, 1 inch 420 thou, and we got a 40 thou tolerance. So I'm actually getting 1 inch 398. So that one's good. It's a little weak, but it's good. It's still within tolerance. Same with that one. 1 inch 398, 97, 98. 1 inch 3. Don't want to put pressure on the spring. But 1 inch 400. 1 inch 400. 1 inch 395. 1 inch 400. So they're within tolerance, but they're a little on the weak side. So quite a bit smaller than the ones I'm putting in, that's for sure, the new ones, which I'll just show you again. So we're basically around 1 inch 395, 1 inch 400, and these ones one inch 548, 547. So that's quite a bit taller. You can actually physically see it right there. That's going to be a strong pull. Might be a little hard on the wrist. But like I said, we'll keep these. We're going to go with the full kit, and we'll see how hard it is. If it's too stiff, we'll scatter them a little bit. Okay, so let's check a few of these friction plates. So these are supposed to be 118 thou, standard size, and I'm allowed to go 12 thou below that. So I'm getting 120 thou, which means this one's a little bit over the standard 122 thou. So that's probably a replacement clutch. 120. So it seems to be still within tolerance. So it's not too bad. I'll go check a few more, but this is actually still within tolerance. Okay, so here's what we're dealing with. But yeah, everything looks good, but I'm not going to go with the old clutch. I'm going to put the new clutch in that we just bought. Nice Kevlar one. So I'm going to let that soak for a while, and I'm going to move on to something else while that's soaking. So the other day when I was working on this cover, the template slipped and put this hole in here. So I'm going to need to plug that hole. So I'm going to do a little rework on this and weld up that hole. So it's the lower one. So you see here? Right there. So what I need to do is I need to grind all this down so the nuts will sit flush, and then I'm going to weld that hole up so it won't leak. Okay, I just ground this down so the nuts can go on the back side and sit nice and flush. Now I'm going to weld up that hole, and this should go back together okay. Cleaning up the weld a little bit there now. Okay, so the hole was right there, all plugged up, and the proper hole is right above it, looking good. Other side. So you can see the good hole, and the other one's plugged, but it did a little bit of a blister here, so I'm gonna have to blend that down a wee bit. But that's not a big deal because I'm gonna be powder coating this anyhow. So I'll just touch that up a little bit right now. But yeah, she's all fixed up. There she is. Repair all fixed. I'm gonna powder coat the cover, like I said, and then it'll be black all the way around. But it'll clean up all these little nicks and scratches and everything. There's lots of room for the nuts to go on there now. Well, we seem to have lost power out here in Canada today. A little bit cold, no electricity, so I got my little portable lights on. And we're gonna, I took the clutch plates, friction plates out of the oil. They've been soaking I let them soak overnight. So I'm gonna start reassembling a little bit anyway. Not exactly fully in the dark. I got my nice lights here. So we'll see what we can do here today. Yeah, it's a bit of a snowy day. Kind of unfortunate there's no electricity, but we'll see what we can do here today. Okay, so we'll start putting this back together. This clean rag handy. Give her a little wipe down. See the little tab there, tab there. Set that in there like that. Or nut. Now I'm going to bring that tab back over to lock that nut. Make sure there's no play in it. Nice and tight. That's good. You don't want any motion this way. That's good. Now I can start putting my pressure plates, friction plates, and my steel plates back in. Here they are, all oiled up. See, these ones are perfectly round. The stock ones had a little bit of a slot in them. Just making sure there's no debris on any of them. And there they are. So this next part is really important. You've got to make sure that this is in the right position. So you got that in there. If you put this in, let's say if you were to go, that's the way it's supposed to go, but if you were to put that in like this, hang on a second, I'll pull it back off. So you put it in like that. It's a little bit of space there. When you go to move the clutch, nothing happens. It's not sitting in against those friction plates. You've got to make sure that it's in the right way. So like this. There. I can feel it bottoming out. So when I pull that clutch, you see all the basket moving. That's what you want. If you don't have that, it's not going to work. So now we'll put the springs in, and this should be good. There you go. I'll just tighten those down. Okay, so we got this all torqued down. So now the moment of truth. We'll give that clutch a squeeze and see how tight she is. Oh, she's tight. Wow. That's going to be a workout on the wrist. Okay, so I just lowered the bike down so you can get an idea of how much squeeze it is. I don't know if you can see my hand here, but oh yeah, that's really tight. I think that's actually going to be too tight for me. Look at the force. I mean, it's nice, but it's a bit much. This isn't a race bike for me. This is I mean, it's not necessarily I'm going to be driving it around town all the time, but that's just a bit much. I think I'm going to scatter those springs and make it a little looser. Okay, so that was way too stiff. So I'm going to change out 3 springs. Just so I know which ones I'm changing, I'm going to change out the ones by these arrows for stock springs. And we'll try it and see if it's got a better pull. Okay, let's give that a try. It's better, but I think I'm going to go with the stock springs. It's still a bit much. All right, so let's remove the other race springs. So we know now that these 3 here are stock. So I'll take these out. 1, 2, 3, and replace them with the stock springs. And I had measured these stock springs, and they were a little weak, but they were still well within tolerance. So. All right, let's give that a try. All right, here we go again. Yeah, that's much better. It's still really stiff, but nowhere near what we had there before. I'm gonna go with that. Okay, my little repair went well. Got all my bolts. The nuts are all sitting down now, so that's good. They couldn't fit before because of these ridges, so I grinded all that down, sanded it down, so it's sitting a lot flusher, a lot more flush. I still got to tighten them down. I haven't done that yet because I am going to powder coat this piece, but I just wanted to make sure that they were going to indeed sit down there flush. So that's looking real good. Okay, let's see if you can see that clutch moving while I give it a squeeze. Feels way better. I really like it. Looking good. Okay, so that's it for installing that clutch for today. Stay tuned, like and subscribe for the next episode, because we're going to be installing this really nice EGT, exhaust gas temperature gauge. So I'm gonna have to weld these bungs into the exhaust. Yeah, because these are air-cooled engines, there's no radiators, no liquid cooling going on in these bikes. So it's really nice to have these exhaust gas temperature gauges. So these are the thermal couplers, and they'll just weld. Well, the bungs will be welded in, and these will just thread in. They go in about halfway and read the exhaust gas going through, so I can tell the temperature of each cylinder as I'm riding. So if let's say if we start to get a little air leak in here or a crank seal, and then it starts running a little bit leaner, it'll run hotter. It'll let me know that the bike is overheating on one cylinder or both cylinders before the thing grenades on me. So it's a really nice feature to have. So stay tuned, and thanks for watching.